everyone, my name is Sarah and I'm the Education Coordinator at the South Dakota Agricultural Heritage Museum. I'm so excited to have you here for another Make It Monday episode. And today we are going to be making butterfly sun catchers. Now, right now outside, I don't know if you've noticed if you have flowers or different plants outside, or if you live near a farm and you've been out in some fields, but there are a lot of different pollinators that are out working nonstop to make sure that we have pollinated crops and flowers as we move forward into the rest of the summer and fall. Now, pollinators like butterflies and bees and birds and moths and a bunch of other things are so very important to us. Not only do they pollinate all of our beautiful flowers that we have outside during the summer months, which is great to have beautiful flowers, but they also work to pollinate a lot of the different crops that we have outside. And pollinating crops is so important because if we didn't have those pollinators to bring pollen from one plant to another, then we'd really be up a creek and we wouldn't have a lot of the agricultural products that we depend on to survive. And so they are a very vital part of our ecosystem. And so we are going to pay tribute to one of our great pollinators today, the butterfly. And so to get started, let's go ahead and go over the supplies that we'll need. You will need scissors, a writing utensil. Today I'm using a pen. You'll need some construction paper. Any color will do, but I'm using black today. You'll need some clear contact paper. You'll need some tissue paper in a few different colors. You'll need some tape, and today I'm using blue painter's tape, but masking tape or scotch tape or any kind of tape will work just fine. A hole punch. And then I have a suction cup with a metal hook on it. Really anything will work for this item as long as it's something that you can use to hang your sun catcher in a window. And so like I said, I'm using this today because I have these available around the house. If you don't have these, that's totally fine. You could hang it up using a ribbon or a yarn or string or whatever you have around the house. Or you could take a tape that's not going to leave a lot of sticky residue up on your window, and you can go ahead and tape that up in your window as well. And so that's a few options. If you don't have these little suction cups with little J hooks on them, don't worry. I'm sure you'll be able to find something that will work from your house. So once we have all of our supplies ready to go, we'll go ahead and get started. The first thing that you're going to do is cut out your butterfly pieces. And so I have pre-cut my pieces that we're going to use today. We're going to cut out a butterfly outline shape. And to make this shape, I actually used my construction paper here. I folded it about 4 inches in so that I could have a mirror image going on when I cut, which is super helpful because then you don't have to spend as much time trying to get your sides even and equal. So I took my scissors and I went ahead and just freehand cut out a butterfly shape here. Now, if you need a writing utensil, if you're not good at freehand cutting, you can always use that. That's why it's on our supply list today. But I just used my scissors, cut out when I needed to, and I was good to go. Once you get that butterfly shape cut out of your black construction paper, it's going to look a little bit like this, except it's going to have all the black paper still here on the inside. You'll want to turn your butterfly shape into a butterfly outline. And so you'll take your scissors and cut around the inside edge of your butterfly that you cut out so that when you unfold it, you're left with this great outline shape, but you're left with it empty here in the center so that you can put wonderful colors there in the next few steps. And so I've got my outline shape right here ready to go. The next thing you'll need to cut out is a butterfly body. And so I just used my construction paper again, and I cut a long, narrow, skinny oval that will fit from the top to the bottom of the center of your butterfly. So it runs the whole length of the middle of your butterfly. The next thing I cut out were 2 long, skinny ovals that were a bit smaller that I could use for antenna. And so I've got those ready to go and cut out as well. And so now that I have all of my construction paper butterfly pieces cut out, you can go ahead and set your construction paper and your writing utensil off to the side because you're done with those. Now we are going to prep the next few steps so that we are ready to go for getting your contact paper done and your tissue paper done. So today I'm using just a regular plain clear contact paper, and you'll want 2 squares out of this contact paper that are about 2 inches bigger on all of your sides to go around your butterfly shape. And so I've gone ahead and pre-cut that today. And so I've got our 2 squares here. Like I said, they're about 2 inches bigger than my butterfly outline on all the sides. I leave a little bit of extra space in there just because when you have little ones that are working on projects like this, it's always best to give them a little extra wiggle room so that they have plenty of space to use. And so I have 2 different squares that are that size. You can't really tell they're squares because they're kind of rolly, but they are squares. And then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to use your tissue paper and cut out some 1-inch squares that you're going to use to create kind of that stained glass effect within your Suncatcher. And so what I did is I used these tissue paper sheets. I cut a 1-inch strip out of the colors that I wanted to use. Today I'm using a purple and a pink and a teal. And I cut a 1-inch strip off the edge, cut that strip into 1-inch squares, just like this. And if you don't get it exactly into 1-inch squares, they're a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger, that's totally fine, as long as they're about this size and easy to use. And so I pre-cut all of those strips. You don't need to cut a ton out. I literally, like I said, just cut a 1-inch strip, and that made more than enough squares for me to use for this project. And what's great about that is if you cut a 1-inch strip off, you'll be able to use the sheet of tissue paper for a different project in the future, or to wrap gifts or whatever you need to do. So now that I have my butterfly pieces cut, my contact paper cut, and my tissue paper cut, we're ready to go ahead and get started with the fun and creative part of this project. And so I'm going to take my tape here, and I'm going to rip off 4 different pieces. As you can see, this contact paper is kind of rolly because it comes on a roll. And so I'm going to use the tape so that my working space stays flat. And so I'm going to take my square of contact paper. I am going to peel off the edge here. And I'm going to lay this down flat on my working surface, sticky side up. And I'm going to take my tape and just tape all 4 corners down. Okay. So once you have all 4 corners taped down, you can go ahead and get rid of this sheet of backing that you ripped off. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to lay our butterfly pieces on top of your sticky side of your contact paper so we can go ahead and get those adhered where they need to go. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down my outline and press that down into the sticky. Take my body and lay that down in the center. And then take my 2 antennae and lay those down at the top so they're ready to go. So now that I have all my outline pieces stuck down, that's when I can go ahead and start adding in my squares of tissue paper. And so you can go ahead and lay those down in whatever pattern you would like. Just make sure that you work to stay inside of your outline here. I like to do some alternating of colors, which is always a fun thing to do. And so I'm going to go ahead and lay these all inside. Now, if you get a space that needs a smaller sheet of paper and a 1-inch piece is going to be too big, you can go ahead and take your scissors and cut it down to whatever size you are going to need. This is a great way to use up some tissue paper if you have some fun patterns that you're wanting to use for a fun project. You can use as many different colors of tissue paper as you'd like. 3 is a good number because then you can get in a good alternating pattern of colors, which is always a good thing to do. If you want to use more, that's totally fine. It's up to the kiddos and what you have at home for what you want to put through in your design. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut a few smaller rectangles to use and tuck in here and there where they are needed. Okay, get one more rectangle cut here. Okay, so once I have all of these done and stuck down, I'm going to go ahead and take my other sheet of contact paper and peel off the backing. On this sheet. And I'm going to lay this on top, trying to get it as smooth as possible. So that you get a nice, good seal around the outside. I like to go ahead and make sure I press down really firm on this, just to ensure I have a nice, tight seal. After you get this all done and sealed and the sticky sides stuck together, you can go ahead and rip off your tape because you are done with that. And then you are going to go ahead and use your scissors and cut around the outside of your butterfly shape. You want to make sure you leave about a 1/4 inch of your contact paper around the outside, just so that you can make sure everything's still sealed and stays nice and sealed while it's hanging in your window at home. This part you might need to help the kids out a little bit with. The contact paper is pretty easy to cut through, but if your kiddos aren't super up on their scissor skills yet, if they're younger, that's definitely something that you might need to help them out with a little bit. Okay. So I went ahead and got that cut out. And so you can go ahead and get rid of the rest of that outside contact paper. The next thing you'll do is take your hole punch, and you want to make sure that you have a spot to hang your sun catcher from when you hang it in the window. So you can go ahead and put it wherever you would like. You can put it in the center if you'd like, or you could put a hole punch on the side so it hangs on its side so it looks like it's flying. I'm actually going to do that option here today. So I'm going to go ahead and punch it out on the side. And then you can go ahead and stick your suction cup in your window and hang your sun catcher in your window and watch all the beautiful colors shine through your tissue paper sun catcher. So again, this is another episode of Make It Monday with the South Dakota Agricultural Heritage Museum. If you have any questions about this project or any educational items at the museum in general, you can go ahead and give me a call or shoot me an email. Again, my name is Sarah. I'm the education coordinator. It was great to have you in another episode of Make It Monday this week. Next week's episode of Make It Monday is actually our last episode that we'll have here because we are reopening the museum up to the public on August 17th. So we're really excited to see you on August 17th, and we hope to see you next week for our final Make It Monday. Have a great rest of the week.